Hey guys, so one of the questions that I get asked a lot is how are you using an Ernie Ball volume pedal to control your Dunlop rat wahs? So I thought I'd make this little video and kind of give you a brief demonstration of the way that you actually have to try and modify your volume pedal so you can do the same thing. First off, you're going to need obviously an Ernie Ball volume pedal. The one that I have here is actually an older model. It doesn't have, the input or anything up here on the front, but any of them should work perfectly fine. So the first thing that you're going to want to do before you start is you'll probably still have your jacks wired up right here, and what you want to do is before you even remove anything, go inside and just take a quick drawing, write down how everything's wired up. That way, in case you don't like what this does, how it works with your wah, you can just return it back to stock. So after that, what you're going to want to do is you want to find a Dunlop 1FC pedal. And obviously, if you have a Dunlop rat wah, you're going to have some. Now the issue here is, excuse me, you're going to want to get the Dunlop 1FC that came with the Dunlop 1SR. The reason for this is, as you can see here, the board for the older 1FC is much smaller than the boards that come with the units for the 2SR. And this is actually what it looks like right here, is the older one. As you can see, I removed it from the pedal, and I also removed the switch, and I removed the pot. And I didn't do this, but what you actually might want to do, you might consider, is remove the jack and replace it on the side over here with a standard, 1/4-inch TRS jack. It'll provide a little bit more stability and it's a lot easier. You don't have to do that because this actually does fit pretty snugly inside like that. And what you can do is it'll butt up right against here, and once you actually do have the cable plugged in, it'll be fine. It's perfect for home use. I wouldn't recommend it if you're actually going to be going out playing shows or anything. In that case, you would want to replace the actual switch, or the actual jack. After that, like I said, I had removed the switch and I removed the pot. All you're actually going to want to do is just solder some wires there. Make them a little bit longer, that way it's easier to handle. Now, as far as the wah pot goes, I just used the same Dunlop pot that came with it. There's some experimentation you can do with different value pots, but I would suggest just sticking with this. That way you get an idea of what the tone is actually like and how it feels. All that you have to do is remove the old Ernie Ball pot, install this Dunlop, use the same little brass shaft. There's a set screw in there. All you have to do is go in there, unscrew it, put the new one in, screw it down, tighten it up, and just wire that back to the board right here. Now, one thing to note though is you can't wire this up, the Ernie Ball spring and cord. You can't wire it up the same way that it came stock. If you do that, it's actually going to wah in reverse. So when you have the pedal down in the heel position, it's going to be full treble. When you have it all the way down up front, it's going to be full bass. So what you got to do is simply reverse the wiring when you put it back together. Once you do that, it'll be perfectly fine. Now, as you can see, this is an older unit. It's an older Ernie Ball volume pedal. And what I had to do is, since there's no front little facade here to mount a switch, I just took an old project enclosure, and it's just one I had lying around, so you can get one that'll actually fit a little bit better. And all that you have to do is just drill out a little hole and drill out the front a little bit because it's going to butt up against here, against the board. And just use like a little dual lock, double-sided tape type of thing. And you're just going to put it on in, secure it in place, and it should work fine. Now the last thing that you're going to want to do is calibrate the pot. Let's see if I can get up close here. Now I don't have it installed right now, but basically once you do have everything wired up, again in reverse, you you're going to want to calibrate the pot so that this gets to the full treble position in the down position. Otherwise you might have some slippage issues. That way you can get the most range out of this wah pot. And in order to do that, the easiest thing that I found that you can do is actually take a guitar string and take the round ball end of it and hook it on to the little hook that's on the spring and cord. And all you do is you have to take it with one hand, you pull it back so it lets up some slack, and while you're holding it, just pull this forward until it stops. And then release the cord, let the tension build back up, bring it back down, and then all you have to do is just kick it back and then forward. And that should be perfectly calibrated. After that, your pedal should be ready to go. Like I said, there's some other things you can try out regarding different wah pots. You can adjust things with different tapers, throw some different resistors in there. It gets a little bit interesting. If you can't find one of the older 1FC boards right here, I mean, you could potentially use the newer 1FC that comes with the Dunlop 2SR. You know, it's really tight in these old pedals, so your best bet probably would be to mount that separately. If you don't want to do that, a buddy of mine is actually working on making kind of drop-in boards, and he's actually managed to make it a lot smaller. It's similar to like the standard 95 Crybaby, and those will work a lot better. And he's actually going to try and make it smaller so you could use it in something like this. And that way you could probably even house it all right here, so it's one nice neat little component, little compartment. Other than that, just give it a try. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you have any questions, any comments, anything you want to see in the future. A lot of my gear is still out of state, so I'll plan on doing another video sometime down the road where you can actually see this from start to finish when I build a new pedal. But again, give it a try. Let me know what you think.